Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? It's Joy here from Spain Speaks with a weekly review video with Johnny. We'll have a bit of a chat and find out what has caught his attention this week. So let's go to the video. All right, good. Johnny, how are you today?
Good, Stu. I've had consistent hiccups this week that I couldn't get rid of, so I'm really glad they've stopped just before this recording.
Okay, good. So you're talking about you had a problem with hiccups, not that you've had a few hiccups throughout the week, right?
Yeah, actual physical hiccups, yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
But yeah, how are you doing?
Good. You've had a haircut, I can see as well.
Have indeed. Always got to get a fresh haircut when is needed.
How much do you pay for that, Johnny?
I pay about €12 just at the guy around the corner from my building.
€12. Okay,
yeah,
all right,
so
good. Yeah,
good.
not a bad price. Yeah.
But you, how much do you pay when you get your haircut?
It's about $7.50.
Okay, you're a little bit more frugal than me in that sense. Then.
Well, it's not necessarily that I'm frugal. It's just the lady that I go to. That's what she charges. I mean, there's other places that charge around 12, but if you can get it for 7, the same thing. When every year I have less hair, so I can't see the point of paying more for less. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're making me a finance content creator look bad in this sense.
Yeah, but I don't think in Madrid you'd be able to find a €7 or a $7.50 haircut. You'd probably have to go to a fairly dodgy barber to get the one like for that price.
That's true. Yeah.
So what's caught your attention this week, Johnny?
First of all, we got Pedro Sanchez's recovery plan, which he's announced again in Parliament, where he's talked about his usual. I think it says that he's talked about it a lot, and I think he's come under a lot of scrutiny for propaganda and criticism from the opposition for just constantly bringing it up. I know that the Ciudadanos leader has said, you bring this plan, but you don't really find consensus. And Pablo Casado has had some, let's just call them strong words and strong criticism for him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's another obstacle. This is actually from a few weeks ago, but a German high court has blocked Germany's signature on the recovery funds, the central EU funds. So, yeah, this was announced back in 2020, May last year, the funds initially, and here we are in March, and still no sign of the money.
Yeah, well, I know that Pedro Sanchez is, he's laid out this huge plan. I mentioned it today in the video that I can't remember the exact amount, but it's something like 50 billion that they've got up front, and they want to launch this $50 billion recovery fund, if you like, and they're going to change the economy. Apparently, they're going to digitalize small and medium companies. That's the idea. I don't know why the government has to help with that. I don't know why a private company wouldn't do that themselves. They also want to modernize the public administration or the governments around the country. What else do they want to do? They want to bring in some type of electric energy. Electric cars and more
have
things
more charge points.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing.
Yeah, I think I read something about electrification of public roads as well. Whether that's, I don't know if it's tramways.
I don't know what that meant. I didn't really know what that meant. Because what was.
Me neither. No. It's a bit vague.
I mean, there must be some logical explanation to why they want to do that, and I'm sure viewers will fill us in, but I couldn't quite get my head around what he actually meant by that, no.
Yeah, me neither. Obviously, kind of the transition towards a green economy is something that the EU is pushing really big, and perhaps Spain here is taking the initiative to try and be a leader on that front. There was a news story that came out the other day where 2 Spanish companies, Acciona and Repsol, have now restructured their businesses to put their renewables parts on the stock market.
Yeah, a lot of big companies want to get their hands on these funds. I remember reading a few months ago that some of the big companies here in Spain, some of the IBEX companies are putting forward a lot of plans in order to have access to some of this cash, and probably it will be channeled through a lot of those companies as well. And we'll see. The skepticism, I should say, comes from people doubting, and we spoke about this a few weeks ago, people doubting what the government will spend the money on, whether they're serious about changing things, especially when it comes to pension reform, labour market reform, and one other thing, can't remember what it was, tax reform, I think.
And you mentioned pensions and the labour market there. Sanchez, he didn't really get into that at all. He tried to stay clear from it in his presentation as well.
No, because they haven't got a clear plan for that yet.
Okay. But yeah, still, I think that's always going to be a topic of controversy when it comes up, and surely the opposition will have something to say. Well, he did give some insight into the tax, though, where he said that taxes we can expect an increase in taxes, essentially.
Well, yeah, okay. So we're getting money from the European Union and an increase in tax. So that's win-win. Yeah. The problems that I see, as I said, that the skepticism comes from where they're going to spend the money, and if they can spend it, well, I'm sure that the country will benefit from that. But there's always been that debate that maybe they'll waste the money on some things that perhaps won't pull the country into the century that we're living in, especially when it comes to that digitalization aspect and improving those public services, right? Getting a lot of things online, maybe that maybe should be easy things to do online when it comes to government services. I don't know. Definitely.
I think my experience both here in Spain and in France is, there's a lot of paperwork, and there are companies that are moving that can help with that digital transformation. Like there's DocuSign, which is really into like the electronic signature of contracts.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, great service. If that becomes something that can be used within like national administration, that could really transform administration on that level.
That's exactly right. I mean, there is technology to do it. It's just a question of whether you can, implement it in the existing systems, and whether you've got people that are able to adapt to the new technologies, which is always going to be the question that you have to ask as well. But I suppose that, public servants will have to adapt.
Right. Time will tell, I guess.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I'm just seeing if I can find exactly where some of this money is going to be spent. I'll see if I can find it, Johnny. But the idea is that they're able to spend the money wisely. And the criticism's coming from what they call here in Spain this hostile climate, this crispación, as they like to call it, this hostile political climate which has been the norm for the last 6 months. It sort of went away there when the pandemic was first started, and everybody seemed to agree on what the country needed to do. But now it's just become a really nasty political fight again.
It's insane. Honestly, I read some of the comments and you see some of these political speeches, and it's quite cringeworthy in a sense,
I mean, I suppose it's not unique to Spain. I'm sure it happens in other places around the world as well. But yeah, so I managed to find the plan here. So the ones that we mentioned, so sustainable movement, digitalization of SMEs. They're also going to spend money to roll out the 5G network. They're talking about a new industrial policy to have some type of industry back in the country, rehabilitation of homes around the country, and urban regeneration. The tourist sector is going to get a bit of money, a few billion. Digital competencies, science and technology, and renewable energy.
Yeah, those are the ones I had down as well. Yeah, and
so I think that's where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's where 50 billion of that total 70 billion is getting spent over these 21 to 23. I think that's the investment scope for that, and then the remainder of the plan up until 2026.
However, as you mentioned, the Germans have thrown a bit of a spanner in the works with that court, putting that money on hold for the time being. But I'm sure that's just a minor obstacle that they will get over.
Yeah, it seems to be the opinions in the media is that it is a bit of a minor obstacle, but it's not the first obstacle that this fund has had. We've obviously had Poland and Hungary that voted to block it back in November as well. So how many more challenges is this how many more challenges is this fund going to face, and is it going to delay the recovery of Europe's economy following the crisis? Because look how much money the Fed in the US has printed. The UK is, I'm not going to say booming economically, but I think it's probably on its way to coming up with a strategy for recovery. But trying to coordinate 27 countries, like you said, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I read the other day that regarding the United States, I heard somewhere, I can't remember, that of all of the US dollars in circulation around the world, 1/4 of those were printed in the last year.
I think I read it's even up to about 40%, but it's
40%, is it? Okay.
Yeah, something, and even still, there's money that has been printed that's still not yet in circulation. So I think
Okay.
the inflation effect that will come everywhere, not just in the US, as a result of all this these bailouts, is going to be pretty significant.
We'll see what happens with all of these trillions and trillions of dollars pumped into the economy. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps a video for my channel at some point.
That's true. That's true. That's your area of expertise. All right,
Yeah.
good. Now, what's that? What else is on the agenda, Johnny?
So from fiat currencies now onto cryptocurrencies. So
Okay.
yesterday, a crypto exchange called Coinbase launched on the stock market,
Yeah,
and
very successful.
yeah, it has been. Yeah, I think the price went up quite a lot. It was targeted at 250. I saw it. It was at 350 when I checked. How is this relevant to Spain? It's because BBVA actually has holdings in Coinbase, and their shares have gone up as a result. But it's made me think a lot about the future of cryptocurrency in Spain, because BBVA, this same company that's holding Coinbase, said back in December, we recommend that our clients don't invest in cryptocurrencies. So it's a bit of a contradiction in a sense, so to speak.
I'm not really big on the cryptocurrency world, to be honest. Are you investing? Are you doing videos about that, Johnny? Pointing people in down the
I haven't done
cryptocurrency
any videos.
path?
Yeah, I haven't done any videos on it yet. I'm very much starting to dip my feet in the water on cryptocurrencies and start to understand what they're really about. So I haven't made any videos on it yet, or I wouldn't at this point be able to say to someone yes or no. It's a good thing. But I think definitely with the way that big banks, you look in the US like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, in Europe, Deutsche Bank, they're betting big on cryptocurrencies. So I think it's going to have some role to play in the future. But here in Spain, Hacienda sent out, I think it was 15,000 letters to different taxpayers to say, remember to declare your crypto assets. So
no,
yeah.
I didn't get one of those, obviously. No.
Lucky you.
So what's the future then? If the big banks are interested in it, what they see it as a substitution to traditional currencies, or what's the plan there, or just an investment vehicle?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I think probably there's people that use it as an investment vehicle. They speculate on it to make big money. That's how a lot of people have made big money off Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So possibly as an investment vehicle, but also from what I've read, the technology behind the likes of Bitcoin, behind other coins, is quite powerful and can facilitate like digital payments and even I think contracts in the case of another coin called Ethereum.
Okay.
So it's definitely an interesting topic, and I think it's one that's going to be a hot topic for a while. How it develops here in Spain, we'll see. But currently, I think the regulators are a bit behind on it, so they're treating it like any other asset, like stocks or real estate, and you have to declare it and your capital gains on it.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago there was a we'll talk about Bitcoin. I mean, there was an idea that you were going to be able to pay with Bitcoins in certain businesses and online transactions. A couple of places on the internet say, pay in Bitcoin. But I think the growth of Bitcoin makes it very hard for that to happen because, there has been enormous growth over the last couple of years, and that value is changing constantly. So if you buy something today in Bitcoin, maybe it's going to be a bad deal in a couple of months' time,
Perhaps, and then there's also the factor of that there's a limited number of Bitcoin that can only be produced. So 21 million Bitcoin, I think, is the limit, and not all Bitcoins have been mined or discovered yet, so to speak. So
yeah, and I heard the other day that another problem with these digital currencies is that they use a lot of energy. They're not very friendly from an environmental point of view, let's say, or a lot of the digital economy is very energy heavy.
Well, that's it. Yeah, when we talk about Bitcoin mining, I've seen a couple of things on YouTube, and you look into a room where they're doing Bitcoin mining, and it is rows and rows of computers that are sucking out loads and loads of energy. So yeah from a mining perspective, not very not very ecologically friendly.
No, that's it. That's it. So I think those things have to be taken into consideration as well, especially if governments are pushing for a greener economy. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's that's going to be an interesting one, weighing up the green economy versus the digital economy. If that's the way it goes.
And just going back to the first thing we spoke about, which was related to that European fund, I think one of the things was that Pedro Sanchez wants to get solar panels on a lot of the houses, to move on to that solar energy, take advantage of all of the sun that we have here in Spain, which is a bit lacking at the moment. So all new constructions will be automatically fitted with solar panels. So that could be the compensation for for some of the other high energy uses.
Yeah, I mean, something like that makes sense. You know, we have long hours of sun here in Spain as well. And if you think about what that means for your energy bill, I guess we'll wait and see. But one would suppose that, yeah, it would be lower than running your house on gas or on electricity.
How do you find energy compared to when you were in France, the price?
So that's an interesting question. So in France, I only have actually paid energy bills a couple of times because I had an all-inclusive residence.
Okay.
Yeah, here I find, let's talk about Iberdrola, for example. The Iberdrola prices are pretty high, I've noticed. But then you've got some of these lower price companies like Unielectrica and Pepe Energy that are really undercutting the big players when it comes to energy prices.
Yeah, Pepe is it's a strange company. Pepe, they have Pepe Car, Pepe Rent a Car, Pepe Energy, Pepe Phone. I mean, I don't know what type of holding that is, but very diverse. It makes me a little bit suspicious.
I mean, you have in France, you have Bouygues, which has its construction business, it has its mobile phone business, and it has another business as well. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but yeah, it has 3 diverse businesses. So, but yeah, Pepe Energy, very diversified, as you say.
That's it. That's it. All right, and last on the list, Johnny.
And last, so anyone looking to travel by train this summer, there is a new entrant in the market in Spain, and RENFE are reducing their prices. So there's a bit of perhaps a price wars in the train, the railway sector going on here. So So RENFE have now reduced their prices on average by about 16%. I think they gave the example, a ticket Madrid to Barcelona starting from 32 euros is now down to 27 euros. They've categorized it into basic, elige, and premium. Yeah, and that would be your top of the range, like total flexibility, all services included. But then French operator Ouigo, which is part of the SNCF, which runs the railways in France, they're launching their offer in Spain as well, to compete with the likes of the Avlo, which was also a low-cost operator, operated train by RENFE.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the Avlo is running yet, though, is it?
I don't think so. I remember when I first arrived in Spain, trying to get those, I think it was €5 tickets from Madrid to Barcelona, and the website crashed immediately. We went for it.
But was that on the Avlo, or was that on the normal AVE?
That was on the Avlo, sorry.
No, it was on the Avlo. Okay.
Yeah, they'd done some huge promotion. I saw it on the TV. They were doing some big promotion where you could get these super cheap tickets Madrid to Barcelona, and everyone just goes to the website and it's just down, doesn't respond.
Yeah, because the French competitors working only on that Madrid-Barcelona route, though, I think, right?
I think, and then there's maybe the possibility that they extend it into Levante and Andalusia later.
Okay.
I think that's
but it is the first competition that the state company RENFE has had in all of its existence, I think. So they're trying to get competition into the market, and hence RENFE lowering their prices on that same route.
Exactly. Well, the entry of Ouigo, it comes from an EU directive, which is all about the liberalization of railways and giving consumers more choice to try and push particularly younger people to use the railways more, and more people to travel by train.
Yeah.
So
it's been prohibitive. It's been prohibitive up. I mean, especially the fast trains, very expensive.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've always, whenever I've traveled around Spain, I've chosen the plane because it's so much. It's not as economically friendly, but it's just so much cheaper. Why would you pay more for the train? Yeah.
Well, I suppose the advantage of the train is that you don't have to be at the airport a long time beforehand. Although if you go to Barcelona, it's a fairly quick changeover, so you don't have to spend a lot of time there waiting. But for the traditional routes, you do have to get to the airport an hour before, sometimes a little bit more. You've got to go through terrible security checks nowadays. Trains sort of, arrive there 5 minutes before, and you're able to jump on the train. If if you're lucky, you don't have to go through that same stress. You've got the terminal, the train station in the center of the city, where you don't have to find your way to Barajas.
Yeah, that's true. If you think about it from a time perspective, though, it probably comes out somewhat similar. If you've got, I think the train it's 2.5 to 3 hours between Madrid and Barcelona. Obviously, you're in the center, but then if you think the flight between Madrid and Barcelona is about 50 minutes, and then you factor in the hour at the airport, and maybe the hour getting there and coming out.
Yeah,
I can understand, though, like some people, it's probably a lot less stressful to get the train. But me personally, I've always been one to save money. So
yeah, well, I think between that Madrid Barcelona plane route, I think they have what's called the Puente Aéreo, and you don't need to you just rock up at the airport and hop on the next one. So you don't have to get. It's not like a normal flight where you have to get there an hour before. Sometimes you just get there and hop on the next flight that's available.
Yeah. Yeah, I made that mistake one time. I turned up at the airport on the 30th of December to fly Barcelona to Madrid, and realized I booked for the 30th of March.
Oh, okay. You made a mistake. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I did have to pay a small price to adjust my ticket, but I was straight on the next plane.
Yeah. But good to see competition coming into this sector, because, as I said, prices have been a little bit expensive for a fair while now. And good to see that the European is trying to make the market more competitive by forcing competition on countries.
Yeah, I can speak from my experience of Ouigo in France, because I have used it there. It's very much like a Ryanair of the rail style service, but it's very economic. They do tend to use, though, like stations that are not in the smack bang in the city center. Although in Madrid and in Spain, you probably got less choice. Whereas in the likes of Paris, you've got several stations up at the airport, out in Disneyland, all the way down in the south. Yeah. So maybe you won't have that same thing here in Spain, but the hours of the trains, you're looking at like 7 a.m. trains in some cases, or really late trains. But the price, particularly for young people, it's really worth it.
Yeah. And hopefully they have a better website than RENFE.
Yeah, one that doesn't crash when you try and book your tickets.
I heard a story a few years ago from somebody that was looking into that system. He was an IT guy, and he was, I think RENFE was one of the companies that they were working with, and apparently the system was very antiquated. But they spent a lot of money on it, but it couldn't handle that mass. For example, when you put a special offer on there and you get a lot of people connecting at the same time, the system crashed.
Yeah. Now that we've got this price competition, they're going to have to think about that, and probably special offers will be a way for them to compete with the likes of Ouigo.
Well, that's it. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than a website crashing when you're trying to buy tickets for a concert or for a train or a plane, because of that huge demand, and they just don't have the systems that can handle it. It's amazing when you think about it, that the platform that we're on now, YouTube, the millions and millions of hours of videos that are uploaded, and the system hardly ever crashes.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, and
then you try to buy a train ticket and bang.
And there's a lot fewer people going on that website as well.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I don't know how many people are watching YouTube at any given moment, but I'm sure there, potentially millions and millions around the world.
Oh yeah,
that's it. All right, Johnny. Anything else?
No, that's all for today. So good talk again.
All right, good talk, and we'll be in contact for next week then.
Perfect. Let's speak then.
All right. Have a good one. See you later.
See you, Stu. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So there we go. That was the weekly review. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.